Hello, I'm Sally Warhaft and welcome to Snapshot, our weekly discussion of the major issues concerning voters in the lead up to the federal election campaign. And it's our last Snapshot, and I welcome Tim Wilson from the Institute of Public Affairs, my co-panellist. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning, Sally.
And our guest today is Liberal Senator Mitch Fifield from Victoria. Thanks for joining us, Mitch.
Good morning, Sally.
So, Tim, the debate about the debate about the debate.
Well, yes, I don't know whether we're going to actually have a debate yet. There's technically been an agreement. Mitch, Tony Abbott's been running away from this debate at points, particularly because Julia Gillard really wants to focus on the economy. Considering this is a traditionally strong area of policy for the Coalition, why is there such an indifference to actually doing a debate on this very specific topic?
Well, I don't think Tony's running away from a debate at all. We proposed at the start of the campaign 3 debates, which is what Kevin Rudd undertook when he was Prime Minister. Julia Gillard said, no, let's just have 1 debate. We accepted that. Subsequent to that, Julia's campaign was needing a circuit breaker, so she decided another debate would be a terrific idea. But what we've seen in this campaign, a good new innovation, is the town hall meeting format that we saw at the Rooty Hill RSL. I think it's great because journalists have plenty of opportunity to ask questions and politicians have plenty of opportunity to ask each other questions. In this format, you get real questions from real people and hopefully you get real answers as well.
It's arguable that we've even had 1 debate, really. I mean, I would call the debate that we had a joint press conference, really. There was no real interaction between the 2 prime ministerial candidates. What worries me about the farcical nonsense in the last couple of days is if Julia Gillard and Tony Abbott, whoever wins the election, can't agree on the simple terms of meeting up at the later stages of an election campaign, how could we ever hope for a bipartisan cooperation on anything within Parliament?
Well, Kevin Rudd promised that there would be an independent commission for debates. That's something that he squibbed. I think that it would be a good idea to put aside this sort of discussion that you have. But this new format I think is good because you don't get simply focus group tested lines being delivered as an opening statement and then in response to questions from journalists.
I agree that is a good format, but about that question of cooperating together, those 2 individuals, one of them's going to be the Prime Minister, one of them may or may not remain Leader of the Opposition. Do you think that there can be any cooperation on issues that affect all Australians?
Well, there can be, and I think there is. There certainly is on national security issues. There's a great degree of cooperation there. In my own portfolio of disabilities, there's a lot of cooperation. It's the area, I think, where partisanship is most readily put aside, and where there is partisanship, it's of a much less intense nature. So it does happen, but in the hothouse environment of an election campaign, you're going to have debate over debates, as odd as that seems. But I think a commission is probably the way to go, and let's give the public the opportunity to ask questions.
Well, why is there this reticence, though, to debate the economy on behalf of the Liberal Party? We just heard Wayne Swan, and he's been going out there saying that the Coalition is going to blow the budget and blow the surplus. Why is there a constant issue for the Coalition about debating the economy and Tony Abbott wanting to focus on other issues?
Well, Tony was very happy to debate the economy. He turned up to ABC last night. Julia Gillard jumped on a plane unscheduled, headed over to Perth without a press pack in tow for who knows what reason other than to avoid the debate last night. But just pick you up on something that you said, Tim, debating the issue of the budget being in surplus. Labor keep talking about the budget being in surplus. The budget is not in surplus. It has not been in surplus under this government. This government has not delivered a single budget surplus, and they won't. So we're very happy to talk about the economy every day between now and the next, now on the 21st, because we have a plan to repay the debt, we have a plan to end the waste.
The policy costings are going to be released today, and I hear that Joe Hockey and Andrew Robb will be fronting up to discuss that, and not Tony Abbott. Does this not create an impression that Tony Abbott really doesn't want to face the economy head-on?
No, I mean, as I say, Tony was prepared last night to go head-to-head with Julia Gillard. She didn't front up. Joe Hockey, Andrew Robb, they are the alternative economic team. I don't know...
With an alternative Prime Minister.
Well, with an alternative Prime Minister, but we will see today our full reconciliation of costings, our full reconciliation of spending, and that'll be a good thing. I think it will surprise Labor because we are going to deliver a surplus bigger than the Labor Party.
In this election campaign, Labor has started to trot out the NBN. I think the announcement yesterday about the Republic after our current sovereign, passes away, as a way of delivering a mechanism to discuss about vision for this country. And we haven't heard much from the Coalition in terms of a vision for a long-term future. Even on Q&A on Monday night, Tony Abbott seemed to say his government is about stability more than anything else. What is the Liberal vision taking us to this election? Well,
look, it's terrific to have vision. I've got visions, I've got ideas, I've got plans for the nation. Tony Abbott does as well. But one thing I know for sure is with the best will in the world, you can't give effect to your vision if you don't have the dollars to support it. You can't give effect to your vision if you can't even balance the budget. So the first thing you've got to do is make sure that you're living within your means, that you can support the promises and commitments that you make.
So the promise of the Liberal Party at this election is, at 2011, if we win, we'll have the next election will have a vision then?
No, well, we have a vision for Australia. We want Australians to feel confident about themselves. We believe that Australians know better how to spend their money than the taxpayer, than the government. So we want to retire the debt so that in the longer term we can give tax cuts. We can put more money into the pockets of taxpayers because they're in the best position to determine how to look after their future.
Mitch Fifield, I wanted to ask you, you're not running for the Senate this term, which must be an enviable and delightful thing to watch what's happening for a very safe personal